Jeff Bakalar.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
Jeff, listen, the last week or so, I know you've been saying you're sick, but I think you've been playing hooky. I think you've been running around the malls, skating around, grinding up escalators. Am I right? Playing your hockey?
Oh my God, I wish I was doing that.
Is that not what you were doing, Jeff?
No, that was not what I was doing. Oh my gosh, but what a treat! What a nightmare treat you just served me.
Well, have you done it in the video game world?
Yeah, I did a little bit in the video game world. The only thing Rollerdrome is missing is a pair of hockey gloves, a stick, and a puck.
Well, let's hop in because we've got a maximum of 30 minutes we can show here. So I'm going to hop into the campaign here. So you can see, so here's the first set of levels here. So this is kind of a dystopian Running Man future sport situation. It's a violent future sport. Think American Gladiators or perhaps Battledome mixed with the Running Man. And here, I'll do a quick explore the narrative thing here because a few times it does put you into this kind of first-person narrative thing. They're very short, but just enough to kind of show you like, okay, so they're hearing about me. I'm Kara. Okay, so Morgan Frey is another competitor. It plants some seeds of evil corporate stuff. Let's see, Matterhorn. There's a police takeover. There's tech giants and money afoot and things like that. You know, you've seen movies, right?
Yeah, like this stuff is kind of, I thought this stuff has been relatively interesting. It's not too heavy-handed. It's not like you have to spend 90 minutes in these little like first-person walkthrough things where you're like, oh, I gotta figure out and unravel this gigantic conspiracy.
Exactly.
Like, I think there's just a very digestible, sort of like easygoing dosage of this sort of stuff, which, you know, you can totally skip too. You can totally just sort of like ignore all this stuff and just get to the skate killing.
Yeah, exactly. Like as someone who is a much more a fan of the Dewey games than the talkie games, this is not a talkie game, but it does just give you enough of a morsel of like setting the stage before you come in here and get right to doing. As you can see here in the Rollerdrome. So, look at this. You can do all sorts of flippy cool stuff immediately. Look how quickly you're having fun and flipping around and killing shit. It's a good time. So, there's a lot going on here, obviously, so we'll cover it as it pops up. Ammo, bottom left. You get that by doing tricks. So I'm skating around, I'm doing my tricks here. Oh, I got hit, damn it. So that's what you gotta do. You're constantly doing tricks, and there are score challenges and stuff to do. So tricks aren't just for show, they are absolutely critical to the game. As you can see, there are combos. You're getting combos by killing, getting combo tokens, things like that. One of the things I really like here is anyone who's played Tony Hawk is well aware that you have to do a lot of thinking about lining up your landings, you know, to make sure you're not bailing. That would be a pain in the ass here because...
Yes. I think, you know, I was just waiting for like the name Tony Hawk and like how we're going to deal with that. Yes, obviously this game has to, you know, exist on a different plane than that game.
Yes.
It has to ignore some of the rules that game sort of laid out and standardized for skating.
Yes.
But
this is an action game.
What's that?
Because this is an action game. It is an action game and a sports game, whereas Tony Hawk is just kind of a sports trick-based game.
Right. But at the same time, like, this game does depend on you doing tricks. Like, if you are not doing a variety of tricks, your ammo will not replenish as quickly. You won't be rewarded as much points, and as
you're not gonna be doing challenges.
you know, what's that?
You won't be doing challenges, you know, which are very important here.
And as we like pull the layers back a little bit, I think we will sort of uncover some of this game's perhaps like frustrating elements.
Yes.
You know, in terms of how much handcuffing kind of goes on, and a bit of this very early ceiling that I think a lot of people are going to hit in maybe a more frustrating than challenging way.
It is very difficult, and you will run into, I think especially as they start introducing different enemies that like shield themselves and have really annoying kind of offensive capabilities and stuff, it gets very hard. There are lots of levels I've had to try probably 12, 15 times before I feel like I was able to stand a chance. And it is, yeah, I lost my train of thought there, but we're basically just talking about this being difficult. You can die pretty quickly. There are characters that can just kind of roast you. I don't know how far you've gotten, Jeff, but there is stuff in the later levels that, like, you see these enemies pop up, and it's just like, God damn it, I'm going to be in hell until I take care of this thing.
And, you know, what they do is, I think I'm like 1-to-1 with you actually in progression here. After seeing like the levels that you've unlocked on the main selection screen. The problem for me is that there seems to be such a huge sort of chasm between what you can do to progress, right? Like a lot of these things that'll look familiar to people who've played Tony Hawk is all the challenges that you can tick right there, where it says 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
So like that is key. Going back and redoing maps to complete the challenges is really what gates the next level of progression. The problem is that you sort of like, it's very difficult to kind of manage all of that as you're going through the map, at the same time balancing your score, balancing the time limits that the game sort of like sets for you to, you know, there's like a par time, and there's sort of like these you know, averages that you're trying to beat on each map. So I think there's just like a lot of things that you're juggling that don't always land in a super satisfying manner.
Yeah, I agree. It's when you are just kind of loose and just running around flipping and shooting things, it can be a lot of fun, but when you are going after specific things, it can get more frustrating. I would say especially as you start to have to switch weapons, it starts getting, because this is so fast-paced that you do switch on the D-pad here. You've got these weapons that you unlock, and there are times where, like, okay, you need the shotgun to take out this thing, but then they're shooting missiles at you, which you definitely don't want to waste shotgun shots on. You want to use the pistols, and it can be kind of hard while you're doing tricks and everything to switch to your pistols, shoot the rockets, and then go back to the shotgun for the shielded enemies or whatever, you know? So it can get kind of cumbersome.
Yeah, I think, you know, to be clear though, to be perfectly clear, this game is insanely fun.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's incredibly unique, and just the balance of like this satisfying slow-mo effect with weaponry, a lot of smart decisions made about, you know, target lock-ons, and a lot of generosity with landing.
Yes.
And when you talk about the Tony Hawk comparison, you know, obviously you don't have to worry about bailing, right? Because you don't fall. You can't fall. The game won't let you, you know, fall off your skates.
It's critical.
At the same time, though, there are certain things that the game kind of won't let you do, like midair. Like you can't do double flips. You can't, you know, there's certain things that are kind of like locked in a way that you're like, oh, you know what? My Tony Hawk acumen would have allowed me to do more here.
Right.
But there is a bit of a ceiling in the things you can do, trick-wise, and sort of parlaying things together, that I found to be a little bit frustrating. Not because of this game, but because of what I know with 20 years of Tony Hawk under my belt.
Yeah, and that said, like, the Tony Hawk muscle memory, if you happen to be a, you know, I guess it's Tony Hawk an old guy game at this point?
I mean,
maybe
we're not talking to a minority of people who, you know, have played Tony Hawk, right?
That's true. That's true. I will say, though, that muscle memory, though, for those that have played Tony Hawk is, you know, largely it works. Like the way you go into a grind, you know, feels the same. The way you can do like a double tap and then an X to do a modifier and a trick, like that's the same. Like a lot of the things that just my brain told me to do because of Tony Hawk,
sure,
worked the way I wanted it to, you know?
Even though you don't really have to do some of those maneuvers, right? Like, for example, like you don't have to hold the jump button down, like where I just find myself holding jump.
I do too.
Right? I'm just always, plus like you can't really gain a lot of speed if you hold down jump, where like that's the sort of thing that I think I'm doing where I'm like cooking it.
Oh, I do that too. I like SSX and Tony Hawk have trained me to like always hold in the jump button.
Cook a jump.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that is a thing here.
Okay. I mean, you can do it. It doesn't.
You can hold it down. You're just not getting like a tangible, you know, compound effect out of it.
Right. You will notice when these snipers are like getting a beat on me, when you see it turn red, that's when you do the dodge. And that can feel really good too, because if you do like a perfect dodge, you can almost kind of like Bayonetta witch time this thing and you know, get more reflex time. It's like that's really satisfying.
You know, and we're watching here, and this is a pretty early, this is like the second level, right?
Yes.
So, you know, we've already played 3 minutes of this level. I forget what the par was, but I mean, you are really struggling to like. And when I say struggling, I don't mean you, Dan, but like get your time down in a really substantial way. Like it is tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And then especially while you're trying to keep a combo up and not get hit by anything, like it's it's very challenging, I would say. And I hate these shielded guys. Man, I hate those fucking shielded guys.
Yeah, each enemy, they call them the house players. They have they do have like strategies that work against them where like those shield guys, you're probably better off the slug gunshot. There's those the sort of like heavies that stand in the middle that have like those riot shields. There's ways to sort of like combat those, and then the snipers with the sort of round hats, they usually are good for, you know, a different way of approach. So it's kind of, you know, figuring out the right ballet of switching off of weapons, you know, as you make your way through you know, each section. So, and there's sort of waves. They don't call them waves, but they are unofficially waves where, you know, you'll see around enemies. Then when the last one gets eliminated, a number of others sort of warp in.
Yeah, and also important to note is the way that you get health back is through kills. So after you kill someone, that's when you want to be near them, sucking the health there. But yeah, see, like, I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing in this game, and I got a C there, you know, like that was a C. My personal best was a little shy of an A. It's this game is going to have like leaderboards and everything. So for the people that want to get like super good at this and super hardcore, I'm sure it's going to be like, you know, I'm sure there will be crazy runs that we'll see on YouTube and Twitter and just be like, holy shit, how is that even possible? Like you can see here, I haven't collected 5 combo tokens, I haven't performed a 10 combo, and I haven't beaten the score of 390. So we can try that here.
That's what I'm gonna be curious to see too. And I do wonder, a part of me does think there might be a little bit of finessing with some of the back end of this, just because of, you know, or maybe again, like maybe nothing changes, right? Maybe it is all about like replaying and replaying and replaying. And I think there is fun to be had there, but like we were saying before, like you do feel a bit of a ceiling. You do feel a bit handcuffed by some of the things that the game's asking you to do, especially, you know, in a matter of, you know, only a couple runs, right? You do have to sort of like make a plan and choose a line for when you are really going after challenges. Yes. I guess maybe, you know, again, it's you know, it's obviously a choice, right? It's a means to kind of like create the progression. For me, I wish there was another way that you can kind of move things along.
Yeah, I do like games though where it's like you can decide like, okay, this time I'm just doing a score run. That's all I'm worrying about is score. And like this time I'm going for, you know, this thing. Like I like that. You know, you're not going to do everything at once. So there is definitely reason to play these several times, you know. I have found too, though, I like games like this where it's like the first time I'll play a level, I'll be like, this is fucking hard, I can't beat this. And then you like go back to it, and after trying it a bunch, it's like, oh, okay, I just got better at it. It's not that there was a secret or something. I just experienced this more. I know how to deal with these enemies more. You know, it's...
You learn the maps.
Yeah, totally. I hate these missing things. Yeah, these guys suck, so they'll shield, and you know, if you wait long enough, they'll unshield, or you can like slug shot them. Which the shotgun here, you can see there's like a reticle thing that kind of hones in, and if you hit it right when it's the middle, it does extra damage. But a lot of them, once they're shielded, you're just kind of fucked. All right, let's see.
I always wish the dodge button would add to your combo, like
it gives you some ammo.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, if you use that dodge button in midair, sort of cancels a trick that you're doing.
Yes. Oh, like if you can add to it.
Yeah, like I wish that was part of something that was comboable. You know,
sure.
Because it is a, you know, it is this sort of like flip, right?
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks cool.
A lot of things look cool in this, and also you feel super cool sometimes, like when you just nail a perfect, like, you know, you're diving in slow-mo, doing a flip and killing 2 guys and exploding barrels. Like, it feels awesome.
Oh, totally. And a lot of that is also due to the game's, there's that super reflex. If you hit that dodge at the super perfect time and then left trigger to slow-mo, it's like a 2 maneuver combo that has to be done for the super reflex.
Yeah.
Super satisfying. What I was gonna say was the style of this game is so perfect for what it aims to do.
Oh yes, that kind of retro
and
future
the
thing.
Music, this like Kubrickian sort of uneasiness going on is so perfectly, you know, tuned into the overall vibe of this game. Like style wise, it is. I mean, it is just like perfect decisions left and right.
It kind of reminds me of you ever see Death Race 2000, the old 70s? Yeah, with like David Carradine and Stallone. It's very much that kind of like retro future sport aesthetic, which I think is pretty fucking awesome. And yeah, Running Man and everything. It really does nail that. I just love the. I'm bad at describing this. I don't know if it's a frame rate thing or whatever, but just kind of the way everything moves, you know, it looks like it's almost like at a lower frame rate, but with this like really crisp, I don't know if it's technically cell shading or what you'd call it, but
the game just doesn't have to like, I mean, you know, obviously it's not nothing in terms of like graphical sort of prowess, but I think a lot of the game is, I think fidelity wise, the game's able to really flex in a way that maybe wouldn't have been so easy with more super photorealistic graphics.
And I wouldn't think it's as cool if it had photorealistic graphics.
Exactly.
Like, looks fucking awesome.
Like I said, like the style for this game, I mean, I hate saying perfect, but like it is just so spot on. Yeah. And nails its aesthetic in such a satisfying way.
Absolutely. Doing all right here. This is one of the levels I really struggled with, like when I first started doing it, but as I've gotten more used to it, I've been all right. So
I do find that like you know, on that final kill screen is so dope.
Yeah.
I do find like you do sort of like have some directional, you can find yourself being a little jarred up and sort of mixed up with directionality sometimes when you're skating, because your player will land backwards and then sometimes it'll just take like 2 frames to point the other way.
It reminds me of
every now and then I found myself tripping over that a little bit.
It kind of reminds me of like, you know, like in like Devil May Cry or something, the early ones, you'd be running and then the camera would shift and then up isn't up and it's like it takes a second to be like, oh right, okay, hang on. I got all 3 of those challenges. Excellent. All right, so yeah, I got all 10 challenges in the first 3. Let's show off, because I know we're a little limited as far as what we can show here, so let's just show off the final one here, the Houston Mall. Oh, this one I struggled with.
Oh yeah, this one is just with the waves of enemies became really difficult. This map taught me that the dodge button is basically like the cheat button.
Yes. Yes, especially some of these later enemies that have these different abilities, and it's just like, okay, these things are going to roast you unless you're using dodge all the time.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing, like you're going down that ramp, and I'm like, I want to go so much faster.
Right.
You know, you're afforded that slow down reflex button, so it's like, all right, well, shouldn't I be able to go a lot faster?
Well, yeah, and the slowdown thing isn't infinite, but it's very generous. Like, you can do it a lot.
Totally. You know, and again, obviously, these are all deliberate choices, and I'd love to know, like, maybe going too fast, like, didn't, like, broke the game. Maybe it just didn't gel as well. I don't know. But
maybe it made it more disorienting, you know?
Yeah, I do feel like, and again, like there is variable speed. I'm not saying like you only have one speed the entire game, but it's very difficult to generate tons of momentum.
Yes.
Which I found to be a little, you know, a bit of a letdown. But again, overall, I mean, it's like, just look at this game with the exploding mall furniture and just. Oh, it's so cool.
Well, and even if it's not going super breakneck speeds all the time, I feel like since you're not bailing and stuff, there are rarely times where you're just totally stalling out and not moving. Like you kind of do feel like you're in perpetual motion.
Yes. Yeah, I do. Like I said, I do wish you could chain a few more tricks together. I wish the spin ability was less like incremental, where it's not like 1 unit, 2 units. You know what I mean? Like I just wish you could keep that going. I mean, the game's not going to let you bail. You can't fall. You can spin in a way where you're like, oh, I should fall. The game just won't let you.
Right. This down. Yeah, so like that thing there is like a trick token, so you know every level has like a specific thing, like do this over the trick token. So you know, little challenges like that. There is reason to go back beyond just getting better at the levels. But yeah, I do wonder in terms of replayability. I think there will be a ton if you are one of those like score challenge folks, you know. But I think you'd have to be at a pretty high level to do that. Oh god, now we get to some of the annoying enemies here. Let's switch to the shotgun.
You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you have to complete like the map to unlock. Like you can unlock a challenge and then like leave the game, right? Can you do that or not?
I believe you can. If you at least like if you die, your challenge stuff stays. So if you got all 5 combo tokens and died, I believe you still have the combo.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, which that I hate when you have to like lock it in, you know, those type of games.
Right.
Like you have to beat it, otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah, presumably the only thing you would need to complete the leveling is for score, you know, total score challenges and whatnot.
Yeah. Also, really effective tutorial. It doesn't take a lot of time. It just kind of teaches you in the actual level. And so, like, before you know it, you were doing all this shit that I'm doing and feeling really cool. And it didn't have to. It's pretty elegant with how it teaches you.
Totally. How do you feel about trick variation?
You know, I tend to, if I'm just trying to get something in between like grinds or whatever, I tend to just do the, you know, go like left or right and X. But then if I'm, you know, going up a half pipe and I got a little more time to think about it, I like to try like, oh, let's try, you know, left, right, X or a diagonal down and then a flip, you know, something like that. Right. But sometimes you're just doing the like functional, like I just need to keep this combo going. Like let's just hit X and something. It's Tony Hawk-like, although Tony Hawk had the flip tricks and the grab tricks. This one you pretty much just have like the grab tricks and then circle is used for, or B is used for dodge. So not quite as much variety as Tony Hawk, but again, Tony Hawk is like fully about that stuff, and this is just one part of the overall game.
So what do you think? Do you think like you're actually killing just people?
Oh, yeah, they're bleeding, yeah. Yeah, this is a shoot. Yeah.
But like, do they call them like house players, right? That's what they call...
Yeah, it's like in Running Man when he killed Sub-Zero, you know, he like ripped his damn spine out. Now he's just playing Zero.
I guess I like to think that they're just like clones that they make for the game.
No, man, the future's rough. These are real people, man.
It's not even that far into the future. It's like 8 years from now.
I know, things go bad, man. People need a paycheck. Yeah, man, it's rough out there.
It's rough.
Yeah, this is like, look, you're gonna have the skills because you play hockey. You know, you're gonna be ready for this. I'm gonna have to go through a lot of training to put food on the table.
Yeah, I guess you're right. At least I got that going for me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna need to like meet up with you and you teach me how to skate. Okay.
I'm a much better inline skater than roller skater, but
is it like a totally different thing?
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's like roller skates are just so, they're just, I feel like they're just, you know, so much wider. You know, your turn radius is not as sharp.
Yeah.
I feel like if this were real and shit got real weird in 2030, I would like to imagine that they decided to do inline Rollerdrome.
Yeah, I feel like if it is an actual future sport, I feel like inline would be the thing at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know like roller derby people still use roller skates.
Oh.
But, you know, I think that's maybe more of like an aesthetic than anything else.
Gotcha. Hey, you ever go to a Sonic drive-in?
No.
They're delicious, by the way. But they had a grand opening of one here in my town the other day, and of course I went. And
well, they invited you. They
of course, you know. I cut the ribbon. Yeah.
You cut the ribbon. It's actually not a cutting of the ribbon. They just give you like
it's a 6 foot long cheese coney, and I cut the cheese coney.
No, you actually just rub a hamburger on the ribbon until the ribbon just falls apart from acid. Exactly.
Yes. But I don't know if Sonic ever actually did do the roller skates thing, but I know Sonic is a drive-in is their entire gimmick. You drive in and they come out and they bring you the food and you got a little window. They didn't have the damn thing. They didn't have. It was just a normal ass drive-through. What kind of Sonic is that,
man? You know, that seems like your department problem.
I should have wrote the mayor about that.
Yeah, mayor's on the on the force there, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, look, it's Connecticut. There's not a lot going on up here.
On the case.
Okay, so this level is a good example because this is one that I died on constantly when I first started. In fact, I messaged you a couple times about how I'm stuck on this level, and you said you were too, right?
Yeah, this took the longest for, like, it didn't take the longest for me to complete it. It just took the longest for me to, like, do repeat runs where I was doing, like, the score challenges or, you know, that's the thing too, right? Like, you got to spend a good amount of time on doing all this stuff. Right? Like,
yes,
the game's gonna gate you, and you can't progress without doing these challenges. So to kind of like get all that done, and you know, it's you will get better very quickly. But I think there are these really big swaths of time that you'll spend when you're in a certain, you know, before you've like hit a different level of expertise with this game. You know what I mean?
I feel like I have gotten better, definitely. I can beat these levels that I struggled with now, but like I'm certainly not, like, as you can see, I got a C there, you know? Like, I barely got a C. So, like, I don't think I'm anywhere near, like, good or could, like, compete on the leaderboards or anything like that.
I've not gotten a B in anything I've played.
Yeah, I think the skill ceiling is probably pretty high on this, but it is very fun. Like, obviously, we've got our nitpicks and stuff like that, but I want to make it clear, it sounds like both of us are really enjoying our time with this game.
This game could not be more perfect for like what it aimed out to be, and the way they teased it, the way like it is styled in such a what an unbelievable job nailing this styling and nailing the aesthetic, the music, just the every little like attention to detail is so chef's kiss. Like, it's really, really smartly designed, and it's freaking skating and shooting. Like, let's go, baby.
Yeah, just anything with like tricks, anything that makes me think of Tony Hawk, I'm already like, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. And then you throw in like flipping and shooting and slow-mo and stuff, and it's like, all right, yeah, let's do it. This is great. So it's, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I know that this, you know, this game does not come out for another couple weeks here, but I am pretty sure that they're doing like an introductory price on Steam for like the first 2 weeks for $20, which is,
oh, nice.
I mean, for what I've played of this, I think that's a pretty excellent value.
Yeah, and for those curious, I am playing the Steam version here. I believe it's also on PlayStation. But yeah, it's fucking cool. I like this a lot, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
Yeah, I want to see people who are better. I want to see that. I want to see what that looks like. But it's so easy to just fall into this game's world with its very like weird Kubrickian future, you know, sort of aesthetic. I think it's super dope, and yeah, really, really, you know, delivered in terms of what I was expecting and what we got.
Absolutely. That is Rollerdrome, coming out in a couple of weeks in August. Jeff Bakalar, thank you for joining me.
You got it, buddy.
Bye.